Each week, as we sit down together to consider what are the messages that our celestial neighbors might be asking us to ponder. I personally have to calm myself as I allow for that reaching out at an energetic level to commune with these fellow celestial beings. And because of the particular nature of what is transpiring currently, I'm going to ask you to participate in this opening salvo, shall we call it, with the planets right now. Just close your eyes. And just relax your thoughts. Allow the fiddle-faddle of that overt, busy imagination to just let go of all those things that are trying to, clamoring, if you will, for your attention. Just breathe, take some deep breaths. And on each out breath, allow a clarity to move into your conscience and to release those things that you, are so vital, you think, for what it is that you need to do today. No, come into this moment, currently, right here, right now. Relax. Just listen to that rattle and entrain your thoughts to it. And as it moves more into the fore of your consciousness, just release those things that are not going to be relevant for what it is that we are about to dive into today. So just keep breathing deep, listen to the rattle, and allow your consciousness to clear, to clear, to clear. We'll just do this for a couple of minutes. Breathe deep, relax, and allow your consciousness to soar up above the planet, out into the darkness of space, filled with these celestial bodies. Are they trying to tell you something? To me, they're always talking. Am I paying attention? That is a question you must answer yourself. But for right now, just breathe and relax. Allow the rattle to carry you into this journey space. Know that there's an energy enfold all around you. Each one of you is infused with power, protection, and support. You are safe in this moment from all the things that you need to be safe from. Allow that ease and comfort to fill all your pores. Allow this relaxation to fill you. Okay. We've said hello to all our planetary brothers and sisters. Let's Now time to come on back down toward that blue orb of Earth. Such an invitation, coming down through the atmosphere and feeling the moisture in the air, the sun warming the sky, and alighting once again back down on the earth and knowing the substance going all the way down to its core that you are made up of entirely. Welcome home. Welcome back. Aho. The topic matter for today, right now, is rebirthing. And I'm not using this term, in an airy-fairy kind of way. We've just spent most of the last month dancing through the deep, penetrating, and intense zone of Scorpio. And every year at this particular time, this is the dance that we're invited to participate in. And Scorpio, it's an invitation. Whenever the sun is in any sign, there's an invitation to tune into what are the vibrational qualities that this particular zodiacal sign is asking me to contemplate. Scorpio. It asks us, are you ready to die? Well, that's a heck of a question to ask. The reality of how this Scorpio landscape functions within the matrix of what it is that is brought potentially to our thoughts, our consciousness, particularly to our heart. Am I willing to allow aspects of what I understand myself to be, to do some investigation, into what is and what is not relevant to my being in this current moment? Are there aspects to it that have served their purpose and are ready to be let go of? This is the kind of death that I'm really talking about. Letting go of the luggage, the heaviness of all the stuff that, we, carry on. How much physical stuff do you have, and how relevant is it to what it is that your life path is on? Might it be so heavy that it's actually holding you back from being able to discover parts of yourself because you're so tied in to those things that you've had all along? Is there room for something new to take place? Here's the rebirthing process that I'm going to be talking about today. Life, death, and rebirth. The Scorpio dance that we are invited to participate in at this time of year. We're just about to come out of the Scorpio season. In other words, the sun moving through the sign of Scorpio and move into Sagittarius this week. Thus, more adamantly, I must persist in, attempting to refocus our attention into that process of the rebirthing aspect of this cyclic part of the life dance. I'm going to ask you, have you effectively been able to jettison those things that, make the journey through the lower hell realms, if you will? Once you cross the river Styx, are you light enough that the queries, the quest, the investigations, the challenges that are going to be presented to you are not going to be held back? You're not going to be weighed down with too much luggage that you think is important to your soul and your spirit. It is not the case. This physical realm that we come and spend a moment in is a realm of investigation. It's a realm of, we can expand our curiosity into the senses. And Scorpio brings up the senses at a intuitive, intimate, interpersonal, if you will, realm. How close am I to you? How close are you to me? And where is that going to take us? What levels of our curiosity and our investigations into the mysteries are going to be opened if we can be honest one with another and not try to hide behind a pretense version of what we are attempting to be that may or may not be infused with a level of honesty that we can share one to another in this investigative process. Okay, we'll go to the chart. Now, last week, or the week that's just finishing up today, we have an every other week experience where the moon dances into that out of bounds zone. And the out of bounds it's a latitude kind of thing. It's not where you see like Mercury is at 15 degrees of Sagittarius. Yeah, that's longitude. That just basically says where on planet Earth is this in relationship to any particular zodiacal sign. Latitude, however, is the movement up and down, because the planets, if you've noticed, like every other week, the moon will be up high in the sky. And then the next week, it shifts down lower in the sky. This is latitude movement, up and down. And last week, the moon was in its, let's see, take a look. Southern out of bounds thing. So it was down south. You could see it looking down. I'm just trying to think. It seemed like it was up. Doesn't matter, up or down. There's a parameter or a perimeter or a line of demarcation that is 23 degrees 26 minutes north and south of the equator or the ecliptic. And if planets move above or below those 223, 26 degree moments, which are the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, on the horizontal lines around the planet, they're considered out of bounds. And since the sun, that vitality of what it means to be alive, never goes beyond that, Saturn, the planet of fixity and limitations. It doesn't go beyond that limit either. But the other planets, yeah, they wander just a wee bit beyond those parameters occasionally. And last week, the moon did. And right now we're in a cycle for, we've been in it for a while, but the moon is going further and further out of bounds in each week. And every other week, the moon goes out of bounds. First south, then north, then south, then north. So every other week, we get this moon. How do you feel? How is your sensation capacities of intuition functioning? And this moon every other week, it does this out of bounds dance where, the words that come to mind when you consider what is an out of bounds. It's wild. It's unrestrained. It's extreme. It's independent. Awkward, vulnerable, these are also possibilities. Privileged and magnified. So that lunar energy, every other week we go into that point where, no longer is the restrictions that Saturn may attempt to impose upon us or the dictates of the regality of the sun as important to us as generally they would be if the moon were inbounds. You can see that your feelings get tweaked. And right now we're in a thing where every other week for about 5 days, the moon is out of bounds. And last week, lest I not forget, since this has to do with the rebirthing process, that Sagittarius can represent as the effective culmination of what the journey through Scorpio can be about. It's Mercury up here at 15 degrees of Scorpio, of Sagittarius. It's halfway through the sign. But if we look at the latitudes, which is declination column in here, see it's at 2453. It's out of bounds to the south. And Mercury went out of bounds last week and will stay out of bounds until about the middle of December. So how we think, how we fabricate our process of organizing those thoughts, how we tune into our curiosity is for this long month right now being stimulated by Mercury being out of bounds. Those out of bounds characteristics that I mentioned for the moon, equally as relevant to where Mercury is. It's in Sagittarius, and we're going to get into some Sagittarius since we're going into that this week. There's that pioneering spirit. So think, Mercury, think. The pioneering spirit of Sagittarius, that image of the archer firing an arrow with unlimited capacity, infused into it energetically to go where no man has gone before, no woman has gone before, no being has gone before. Unlimited and extreme more essence. Feel that energy. Mercury's curiosity is saying, don't try and hem me in, inbounds. I'm out of bounds now. Don't try and hem me in with rules and regulations that say that I cannot think out of the box. Oh, no, not. Who needs no stinking box? And that's the energy that's going on. Mercury will move into Capricorn, still being out of bounds. So we get this zone of Sagittarius, Don't forget, we're still in that rebirthing kind of energy right now on this last week where Scorpio shifts into Sagittarius. Now, effective rebirthing has everything to do with how diligent were you in being able to lighten your load in the Scorpio dance so that it wasn't heavy plodding feet that was keeping you planted on the ground so much as you did the Scorpio dance, but the ability to alight, to fly into the air, to spin around, feel, I have released the burden of the luggage that I've been carrying so long. I've let it go because it's holding me back from who my soul knows it really is and wants to continue to become. This is rebirthing into Sagittarius. Are you ready for your rebirth? Or are you still, hung up, weighed down with things that, it might be important. If it's important, you will know, but you're the one that has to make the call. So the philosopher, the teacher, the explorer, these are Sagittarian things. Contemplate, do I want to be reborn into that level where I could be an explorer, a gypsy even? Do I want to, take the chances of really investigating what more is there? And can I teach this to you? Have I spent enough time and energy in this investigative process? And have I let go of enough of the things that have been holding me back to take a chance? Open up my mouth, have a conversation about what is it that we might share together in this investigative process of the more, the Sagittarian perspective of, what is the philosophy that isn't going to be held back by too much of the anchor of this physical experience that I'm living through? Because our spirit, our soul wishes to soar, like that invitation at the beginning today of, soaring out into that planetary celestial zone to investigate, to listen, to actually become a part of that conversation. We are invited to participate in that. This is the purpose of this celestial chatter that I do every week, and I've been doing them for 4 years now or so. Do you want to be a pilgrim, a seeker of that zone of interface that we have with creation? That is the opportunity that Sagittarius brings for us. But before we get into Sagittarius, on Monday this week, the first quarter moon, crisis in action, and the action that was stimulated has to do with what were the intentions that you set in motion at the last new moon. I talked about it last week, but, Mars was in the mix, and this particular Scorpio season that we've been going through right now with both Mars, the ruler of Scorpio, and the sun going through Scorpio, and Mercury was in Scorpio, and the opposition of that new moon intense and setting moment across from Uranus, the unpredictable shake, rattle, and roll kind of energy that's trying to, unrest us, unseat us from that zone of comfort where, oh, I don't want to be bothered, because the Uranus factor that was in play for the new moon last week says you need to wake up. I'm going to rattle your cage so you can, inspire you to not be too comfortable and see that there are other things going on that you need to pay attention to. Wake up. That's the quest. It's always the quest. Your soul aches, aches, aches for that kind of awakening. Don't get so hung up on all the things of this physical environment that we hang around in all the time. It's a school where we are tested to see how dynamic am I allowing my spirit soul being to grow into in this physical environmental dance. So the crisis in action at this new moon in Pisces, actually the new moon is going to be right there at the end of Aquarius, 28 degrees Aquarius. Oh, interesting. That is the degree of my ascendant. So the crisis in action, we take the Scorpio, investigative nature, which is where the sun will still be on Monday, and the moon slipping through those final degrees of Aquarius saying, am I in tune, in touch with the energy of my celestial, my team, those who are on my wavelength, this particular grouping of, people, the cadre of folks that are on my wavelength? Am I in touch with this? So this crisis in action of this first quarter moon is asking me, are those that I and them tune into paying attention to the potential awakening, to the newness of being reborn in this moment into something that I haven't been before? Not just a reconfiguration of what it is that I've gone through, but something new. Being rebirthed is not a repetition process. So Monday, that's it. We have the first quarter moon. 27 degrees Aquarius, I see, but it's right there. It's the end of Aquarius. It says, how is your group interaction function right now? Are the people in your group on your wavelength? Is there a possibility of being able to stir the cauldron just a little bit more vigorously at this moment so that those within your grouping continue to be curious about, just about. That's how curiosity is. It didn't have to be aimed at a particular direction. And Mercury out of bounds. Our curiosity. If you are attempting to hold it back, you're missing the boat. Saturn, yes, in the mix. I'm not really going to get that much into Saturn, and the reason why is because we're in the realm of Pisces, the land of dreams and imagination, with no limitation. The moon, how I feel going through this thing. As we begin the week on Monday, Pay attention. What are you dreaming about? Might there be messages in there? Because Spirit actually utilizes the dream cycle to give us insight. Are you paying attention to what they're offering you? So for a couple of days, the moon's going to be going through Pisces, and it is a dance. Okay. Wednesday, the sun shifts into Sagittarius. Are you comfortable with what it is that you've been reborn into? It's not a guarantee. And I say that because, the capacity or the ability or the willingness of being able to clear the decks, so to speak, in the preparation for your rebirth is going to have everything to offer into the version of your new self that is going to put in an appearance in this reborn moment. And the sun going into Sagittarius, that vital solar furnace kind of energy is saying, don't hold back. Mercury's curiosity is still out of bounds there in the zone of Sagittarius is saying, look up. Don't be so hung up on what's below your feet. Look out. How far can you see? How far are you willing to see? This is a dynamic time. And, to add dynamism to this, right off the bat, as soon as the sun comes into Sagittarius, it squares Saturn, So here we have Saturn saying, and there's a caveat to this. It's, Saturn can represent limitations or restrictions, but there's a reason for it. The dynamism of Saturn is to function at an organized enough level that you don't float off. And so this square between the sun and Saturn can, not necessarily will, but can make you go, I feel like, I've let go of the anchor that's holding me down. This is the sun entering Sagittarius, and Saturn is saying, hold on now, I've got this, anchor still in my hands. I'm not going to let you go. Now you have to ask yourself, the ruler of both Sagittarius and Pisces, where Saturn is Jupiter. Jupiter is kind of like, here's an energy that's, really so much more about the experience of, taking chances. What else is there? And so we have this kind of a tug of war, push me, pull you kind of energy that is attempting to grab our attention. Saturn in Pisces is saying, I want to try and come up with some kind of a rule and regulation that says that this is what you can do and this is, if you can't go beyond this. And yet it's in Pisces, the realm of unlimited creative imagination. You kind of see that, in a sense, this Saturn energy going through Pisces is not, it's going to have some more latitude to it. Even Saturn dreams. Have you ever thought about that? The planets out there, they're dreaming something. Are your dreams tuning into their dreams? There is a potential interaction there, but you have to be willing to allow it. And we'll just keep on going through the week. We go 2 more days to Friday. Friday, Mars leaves Scorpio where it is, has rulership. and jumps into Sagittarius, you can kind of, if you're really paying attention, or maybe even if you're not, feel an uptick in the energy quotient available to actually do the exploration, do that, experimental considerations of what else is there. And so this Martian energy, there's a drive, an impulse that's saying, take chances. Mercury says, yeah, I'm still out of bounds. I'm still in Sagittarius. What else is there? Feed my curiosity, if you will. Or if you won't, I'll go investigate myself, After all, I am a planetary being. Quicksilver, always, always, always when Mercury's in the mix, and particularly now that it's out of bounds, be aware that the trickster energy is very close to the surface. And perhaps that square between the Mars and Saturn now could be enough of a warning or insight that if something seems to be too good to be true, it might be exactly what is the case. And yet Mercury says, oh, as the trickster, I say, oh, don't you believe that, man? We got to go on a journey. We got trips to take. We got things to investigate. There's just so much to think and do. Oh, it's just a delightful advance. Anyway, those are the main energies for this week. This has been a wild, crazy, touching, and busy week. I got to be present for and facilitate the transition of the first girlfriend I ever had when I moved back here to the United States from overseas. It was her time, and I felt very privileged and blessed to be there for that transitional process. I played the flute as she slipped off to sleep and drummed for the next 20-25 minutes until her spirit had shifted into the next dimension. It was potent. What, how, and who she will be rebirthed as is up to her. My responsibility is to be present with the energy of what I know to be me, and stand strong in that with an energetic support that what it is that her journey entails is appropriate for her. And I do not stand in the way as an encumberment for that process. So, one last little rattling to close this circle. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe with the planets and this dance that we have shared today. Allow their energy and your energy to find one another. Hold hands, let your feet hear the music and move appropriately with what it is that you need to do. And I will move with what I need to do. And should the tune that each of us hears be the same, may we find each other in this dance of life and walk together for a moment, dance together for a moment, and allow this compatibility of energy that we share engage us in a conversation that makes something brand new and alive. So, planetary beings, we thank you for your presence as always, and we would release you from this moment to go about the things that you need to do and allow us, in compatibility with what it is that you are offering, to do what it is that we require to be soul beings on our path together. Aho. That's it, kids. See you all next week.